How's it going, everyone? Wayne the Unknown here, and welcome to another episode of Cosplay Con Talk, where we basically discuss everything pertaining to the cosplay community and cosplay community and conventions. I'm here joined by Chris Furguson.
How is everybody doing?
I'm doing well. So tonight we are going to be doing something a little different from what I usually do with Get to Know That Cosplayer. Me and Chris are going to be talking about cosplay throughout the years. Um, I'll let you go first since you're more familiar with this than I am.
That sounds fair. First off, let me give an introduction to my convention history. Um, uh, I'm an old man. I've been attending San Diego Comic-Con since 1999, so that was over 20 years ago. Um, I went about 19 consecutive years until, you know, it just got too big to attend. Um, I've also attended Anime Expo for a number of years, which is the biggest anime convention in North America, and several other smaller conventions dotted here and there. Uh, Essentially, I would, and my cosplay experience has been from almost 9 years. September 2012. Uh, Basically, I started cosplaying on a dare from a friend of mine, another cosplayer, who said, "Oh, why don't you give it?" I'd been a photographer for a number of years, and she asked, "Well, why don't you try it from this end of the camera and see how you like it?" And I've been hooked ever since. Mostly cosplaying from video games, League of Legends, Final Fantasy. Uh,
Those old ones. Mind giving a shout out to said friend who dared you to start cosplaying.
sure. Her name is Lyanna Vamp. She was uh, most famous for being one of the judges on Cosplay Melee a few years ago.
That name sounds so familiar.
Um, she has a she has a YouTube channel, Best Fiends. Uh, she's very much she's a mainstay in Southern California cosplay. But she was one of the judges on that Cosplay Melee competition
Very
a
nice.
few years back.
And so what was it like San Diego Comic Con nearly 20 years ago?
Well, my first San Diego Comic Con I attended on a Sunday on a whim, and uh, just to give you some perspective, these days it's 130,000 people attending the actual convention over 4 days. Pandemic, pandemic otherwise, but um, back then it was 40,000 people over the course of the 4 days, and you didn't see many cosplayers because it was still a very niche community. Cosplay was basically relegated to a handful of Jedi, a handful of
Star
stormtroopers,
Trek,
Star Trek,
your
um,
basic sci-fi fantasy movies from like years ago, basically, and
plus promotional models, booth babes, booth hunks. People,
mainly a good majority of men were cosplaying.
yeah, well, they were men were cosplaying, but they were cosplaying as something that they could be in costume, but not in the spotlight. There
Okay.
were no like famous cosplayers attending that, and it was basically even with all the stormtroopers, you basically was like 1 out of 100 people were actually in costume. So it was very much a okay, those are the cosplayers. They're the ones who do that. They're cool. We like taking their picture, but uh, it's not what's the word? Uh, it that's their thing, and we'll let them do it. But you know, they can't have
Right.
it. Um, so back in the day, you see someone dressed as Laura Croft, seeing walking around, taking a few photos, and then getting really excited seeing a Superman who got their costume from Party City, or rented it for the day. You know what I mean? They were you didn't see like cosplayers every 10 feet
Like you do nowadays.
like you do nowadays. You don't see like you're not going to a restaurant and seeing Elsa from Frozen eating with uh I don't know, Solid Snake.
Scorpion or something from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. You didn't see, it wasn't as out there. It was very much like, the cosplayers, all they did was stay in their hotel room, put their costumes on, go out for a couple of hours, take a few photos, put on the regular clothes, and then go out and enjoy the show. Eh, Unless you were one of the masqueraders or the costume contest people.
Right. I've.
Then
Go ahead. Sorry.
then you're basically your entire Saturday was just being stuck in a room and having your outfit judged by people who may or may not know what they're doing.
uh, I mean, now like nowadays with costume contests, the judges are like cosplayers themselves.
Sometimes, San Diego, like I'll always refer to that because that's to me that was the A standard of how a convention should be run.
Oh, now it's
Uh,
just too. Now it's just so mainstream.
exactly, but the costume contest itself, they don't hire cosplayers. They hire you know professional costume makers, professional guild members, people who um, you know costume makers, costume designers,
For like
people in
movies
that
and
industry.
everything. Gotcha.
Yeah, movies, TV, Hollywood, that sort of thing. They don't hire, you know, the cosplay guest of honor or whatever to judge. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but
No. But yeah, no, nowadays it's kind of more common to see like a guest cosplayer judge a contest.
well, I mean that's going into like the business side of the convention, so we're not here to talk about that yet.
No, that's for a whole completely different podcast.
Well, let me know how this goes, and then we'll talk about that later.
Oh no, definitely will. As you were saying though.
So so back then it was, you know, you'd get excited about seeing another cosplayer because here's another one now that validates my decision to cosplay at this thing. Uh, and it was like that. I mean, it grew and grew at a very steady pace, but it wasn't a rapid growth for the next 10 years. More and more cosplayers were coming to San Diego as it became more as the convention became more mainstream and more Hollywood friendly, and it became, I don't know, Adam Savage describes it as a mecca of cosplay, and it's probably
That
really accurate.
I mean that sounds accurate. I mean I've seen pictures and promotions of San Diego Comic Con nowadays promoting the next hit TV show or the next hit
Mhm.
movie or something, and looking up tickets because I've always wanted to go. It's like nope, no, no. It just doesn't. I mean, personally, to me, San Diego Comic Con looks cool, but I probably would never want to go just because how expensive it is and how mainstream it's gotten.
Yeah, and that's a fair argument. I would say that hanging around the outside area of the convention center is a lot more interesting than the inside, but you know, that's just because I've been inside, and it's anything that you get firsthand inside, the rest of the world knows within half an hour. I mean,
Oh, pretty much,
it's not
yeah.
even it's not even as exclusive as it used to be.
No, nowadays
Um,
you like not even a month later after con, you see it on the shelves at a GameStop or a Hot Topic or something.
oh no, like within 20 minutes, the entire panel is on YouTube. I mean,
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
but so anyway, so cosplay at that con and most other geek and nerd events were just it was a steady growth. Anime conventions are a little different because of the whole uh you know Japanese acceptance and aesthetic.
Oh
So
yeah.
you see more Sailor Moons, and you saw more um, uh, Trigun and whatever the popular show was.
Dragon Ball Z,
Uh,
stuff like that.
you see more. You saw more of that. You know, you saw people like like just to go how different it was. You had to, if you wanted a Goku costume, you had to go to a Japanese costume site, have a translator if you didn't speak Japanese, and try and play telephone with 3 or 4 people trying to get the exact size costume that you're looking for. And even then, no one knew about Asian sizes.
Oh
So
no, 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 no! I, for first-hand experience, always order a size up or 2 times bigger than what you're
yeah,
going for because a large there could be a small here or a medium here.
hmm yeah. And you didn't know that, so you were stuck with uh
Thank God for, thank God for modern day technology. You could tell what sizes is what now.
oh, thank God for experience now. That's
Oh man,
but so
I just can't imagine being
so
a I just can't imagine being a cosplayer or a con goer back then and just being like, what the hell is this?
uh yeah, I mean you didn't see a whole lot of uh trying to think something incongruous. You didn't see a whole lot of Green Lanterns attending Anime Expo back in the day because you went to Anime Expo, you expected anime cosplay, and you go to San Diego Comic Con, you expect comic books and video games, and there may be some people like uh, you know crossing over, but it wasn't a lot.
Mm-hmm.
uh, and then 2009 happened, and
No, and then
everything.
everything just like you see superhero cosplays at an anime expo, you see anime characters at a superhero convention, and it's just kind of all just like
and
that's everything just
and
combined.
and everybody has enough experience with each genre that they know, okay, that's anime, or I know that series because I've seen it. um it's a lot. I would say the crossover appeal of different genres is a lot better now.
Oh no, definitely.
um
2009 is when I first heard about conventions and cosplay and everything. That's like when I like, what is this? This looks. Wait, you can dress up whoever you want and not get judged for it? What?
yeah.
Oh man. Oh.
So I'll go into that a little bit, because I was there. There was a YouTuber who was a guest of the convention named Merlina Orlova. Back in the day, she had a YouTube channel called Hot for Words.
Never
She
heard
was
of
this
it.
Russian, she was this Russian girl that wore kind of sexy outfits and would talk about certain words, and these were like professionally produced YouTube content.
Back when YouTube wasn't. Oh, that's a different
Back
story.
when YouTube was just like, oh, you're holding your $50 Walmart camera in your face out and just going, "Hey guys, I'm here outside looking at the street, and oh my God, there's somebody out there mowing their lawn. Look how funny he is."
Oh man. Anyway,
So she had she was a guest of the convention. Guests of the convention, they get about 20 to 40 passes that they can hand out to their friends. She didn't have 20 or 40 people with in her little circle. So she started giving them out to other YouTubers, other bloggers. And they would like search the convention center and just look for content for their videos because it was a free trip to San Diego, and they got uh it's like, oh, well, I'm here to shoot a couple of videos. Let's do this. And there were a lot of you know cosplayers that were, what's the word? A lot of cosplayers there. It was, like I said, it's been starting to grow a little bit. There was one cosplayer in particular who was dressed as Riku from Final Fantasy X-2,
oh
and then
man.
later that night, she was dressed as sexy Pikachu, young woman by the name of Jessica Negri.
I've heard of, and that was actually First time ever her cos. Well, that was actually one of her first cosplays ever seen. Was her 10-2 outfit as Rico from Final
Hmm.
Fantasy X-2.
Yep. This was the convention where she was discovered. And she's, even back then, she was a very attractive young woman. And of course, these bloggers are looking for thumbnails and you know, little things to, oh, she's a pretty girl. Let me click on that video. That sort of thing. So, again, same as nowadays. Vloggers are always looking for content. So
I mean,
it took a,
I really can't argue with that because with this channel, I'm looking for uh, cosplayers and artists and everything, and but I make sure to like give them like for you, if for example, I'm gonna make sure to give you a shout out and everything for being on here.
yeah, I appreciate that. But so they're looking for content, and they get her name, and after that, and Philip DeFranco, who had the biggest channel at the time, I believe, besides Fred,
Oh yeah,
there's a name from the past. Um, Posts a question a couple of weeks after the convention, going, is she the hottest, or is she the greatest cosplayer ever? And then everything explodes.
that
She
yeah.
gets she gets she gets popular. Other cosplayers become well known and popular. Uh, and then just the industry just explodes
Yeah,
to the size it is now.
her and Yaya Han are like up there when it comes to female cosplayers.
Well, in the United States, yes,
Oh yeah, yeah. In the U.S., yes. Everywhere else, I know they have their like their number one cosplayer,
but
and
even around the world, cosplayers they weren't treated like celebrities. No one became cosplay famous before Jessica. Even Yaya, who had like this, like people knew her in the community itself. No one really knew her outside of that community. You know what I mean?
oh yeah, no, I
You
get
know,
what you mean. They're known in that specific community, not anywhere
mhm.
else.
So here's Jessica, who is, let's face it, curvy, blonde, young woman with a
Mm-hmm.
nice personality,
Mm-hmm.
and
I get what
and
you're saying. Yeah.
in front of the camera, and she just makes cosplay acceptable for a lot of people.
Oh yeah,
The next
no.
year, the next year, every cosplayer has to be at San Diego Comic Con. So,
It's a
and then
main
it
hub
just
apparently.
yeah, and then it just goes out, and it just becomes this industry that it is now. Not directly because of Jessica, I mean, like, but you get what I mean.
Oh no, I
Bef-
get what you're saying.
like before 2008, there are cosplayers who had heard of Warbler and heard of thermoplastics, but you
And
couldn't actually get your hands on them until
and
unless you were
and Everfoam and all
unless you
that
knew
stuff.
somebody. Yeah, you didn't get your hands on them unless you knew somebody, or you ordered from like specific websites that had license.
But now
Nowadays, you can buy
like on
you can buy
Amazon
a
or
jumbo
something.
you can buy a jumbo sheet up your Michaels.
Oh yeah, no, you can buy like any like for cosplayers, Joanne's, Michaels, stuff like that. Amazon. You now you can buy like everything for your cosplays. Like you said back then, you had to know someone or spend a shit ton of money just to get that
Hmm.
one thing. Nowadays, you can easily get
Like
it.
you couldn't buy a pattern for certain outfits. Nowadays, you can get that stuff is like just you know the Walmarts
Oh yeah,
didn't
no.
sell cosplay supplies.
Oh yeah, at the local Joanne's here in Southern Oregon, you can see you can find Yaya Han patterns for
Hmm.
cosplays. It's like she has her own line of
She has her
patterns.
own she has her own line of fabrics. She has her own line of foams. She has her own line of patterns.
I mean, that's
Um,
one way to market yourself.
and and even she's mostly retired and just is focusing on the business part of this.
Oh yeah, no,
Uh,
yeah. I mean, I like I'll see her post something every now and again of her stuff, and she's still pretty up there.
yeah. Uh, the point was 2009. That's where I would take it as a uh,
Cosplay got more mainstream and was more
yeah,
acceptable.
that was like a nexus point. Like it was this like niche product that a few people knew about and a few people were fans of, and then she comes along and then just it just opens the floodgates and
Oh yeah,
everybody.
everyone's wanting to do it. Like
Like,
I've heard my friends back in high school talking about, oh yeah, I'm going to this con and everything. I'm like, what's the con? What's this? What's this? What's that? And then when I heard about it and everything, because I was part of an anime club, I was like, oh, like I said before, like this looks cool. I was never able to afford it until like 2017 when I finally went to my first con, which was the best
yeah,
experience, by the way. Like,
no, it's everyone has a first, and
oh man, it was like,
but um,
yeah.
uh, let me get back on my train of thought here. Um, so like 2009, she gets popular. Then you look at the next 12 years. She, um, more than a handful of people are earning a living, a good living at cosplay, either in front of the camera or behind the camera, or
All right, we are back now. What happened?
I don't know. We got
That's weird. I had to stop it for a minute, but it's recording again. Anyway, as you were, sorry everyone for those who are gonna be listening. You were saying back 2009 and everything was skyrocketing in
yeah.
the cosplay community.
Again, 2009 cosplay exploded, and nowadays, you have hundreds of cosplayers making a living. Uh, you have, you know, you know, making a living either, yeah, okay, Patreon, OnlyFans, but some people are earning a living doing commissions. Some people are earning a living making props. Some people are earning a living photographing cosplayers. Uh, you have more conventions happening now than you couldn't have imagined 20 years ago.
Oh man, yeah, no, like every it seems like every state and every city is like, oh, well, this seems to be popular. Let's have a convention here. Let's see how it goes.
Uh, So, unless you're intentionally on going to one of the major shows, you don't have to travel across the country or across the world. You can go,
You can literally just walk to a con, and there's a con.
yeah, I mean, more hotels are open to having shows like, anime and science fiction shows
Oh
and
yeah,
comic shows.
no. From what I've seen, like the bigger known cons like SAC Anime and Komori Con, you can literally go onto their website and book a hotel through that convention.
You know,
It's crazy.
uh, so it's yeah, it's crazy, and no one could have imagined this 20 years ago when
Mm-mm.
you had again that Laura Croft cosplayer meeting up that Superman and just taking a bunch of pictures with each other. Um, you know, yeah, that sort of thing.
I don't know. I get what you're saying. Yeah, no, it's definitely changed over the years for sure.
And I know you wanted to talk about the history of cosplay.
Yeah, a
And
bit because I'm sure, and I honestly think it'd be good for those who don't know about cosplay and or wanted. And then again, the whole point behind this series is, not just to talk to cosplayers, but also give a little, make it also educational for those who are thinking about getting into cosplay or wanting to go to conventions.
Mhm. So I guess we'll start at the beginning. The first recorded cosplay um, was from Worldcon #1 in 1939.
Worldcon.
Um, yeah.
I kind of looked a brief about that when I was looking up the history of cosplay when it talked about 1984, like how when cosplay was a word. I can't remember the name of what the exactly full version of Worldcon is. Mine, yeah, continue.
So there's a very famous science fiction writer and editor named Forrest J. Ackerman. I don't know if you've heard of that name.
No, I have not. The only Ackerman I know of is Levi Ackerman from Attack on Titan.
Well, he was a science fiction fan. He and magazine editor and wrote books and things like that. It's fairly well known author. He showed up with his friend at the first Worldcon dressed as basically original characters based on the Pulp Fiction science magazines.
They were dressed
That
up as aliens, right?
no, they were dressed up as like 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 Buck Rogers, Flash Gordon sort of superheroes.
Really? So they're like one of the first earliest cosplayers.
Yes.
Ah, nice.
And it basically like that's the history of cosplay for I would say 50 years, maybe even longer. It was still a niche thing, but it was something that people did. Uh, um, but they would basically take their interpretations of either like book cover art or like descriptions within the novels and make costumes out of that. Uh, you know, and it again like it steadily grew, but it never exploded.
So
That's
they
the
they
kind of
they basically pioneered it.
yeah. It's like, oh, you're at a science fiction convention and you're dressed as Flash Gordon. Okay, we can accept this, but it's not something that a lot of nerds at the time did. Probably because they couldn't afford it. I mean, this was 39.
I mean, if you were able to make like your own costume or something, good for you. And nowadays, you can just, in present days, you can literally just take stuff out of your closet and be a casual character from a comic book or something.
Which I think is awesome.
Oh yeah,
'Cause,
no, I completely agree. I've done that myself a few times. I've seen people do that, and like it's basically closet cosplay, where you just take stuff out of your closet and bam, instant character. It can be what for example, Thor just wearing a casual outfit or something, for example.
yeah. Um, and so like that was the first. What you're talking about in Japan with 1984. That's when the term cosplay or something,
Kasapuru.
yeah, cosplay, which was changed to cosplay, because it's a thing with Japanese slang is that they'll
Yeah,
take two words in English and then combine them somehow.
yeah, it
Like,
was founder of so the founder of Studio Hard, Nobuyuki Takahashi,
mhm,
is when he attended the 42nd Worldcon in Los Angeles.
yes.
So I mean,
So, but that's when the term cosplay became a thing. But even then, you know, it was relegated to the Saturday night masquerades and the and a handful of people. Like I said, when uh, uh and that's not to say that there weren't like famous cosplayers within the community as well. It's just, you know,
uh,
if you really want their to know their contributions, it's a really easy Google search. I just I just didn't write them down.
hey, that's perfectly fine.
Um, I mean, so yeah, it's again, it's like cosplay has been a thing for almost 80 years, and uh, when I tell people this, they're like, "Oh, I didn't know that."
It's great.
Uh,
It's crazy to see how it started to where it is now. Like I've talked to previous cosplayers, and we've talked about this, especially the ones that have been doing it like as long as you have. How it wasn't really accepted, but now like everyone's doing it. Even the people that would make fun of other people for doing it, they're cosplaying now because they say, oh, this looks cool. They're
mhm.
getting like a lot of attention. Maybe I can do this and get attention too.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not saying it's always about attention, but they say, oh well, this is going to be more accepting, so I might as well do it too, kind of thing.
I mean, again, and breaking that ice and crossing those barriers. You know, we're basically traveling down the roads that other people have paved. And hopefully, we can, as cosplayers, encourage new people to do this. That's my ultimate hope with interviews like this, and just encourage other cosplayers to say, you know what, curb your attitudes, and just remember you had to start from somewhere, and you know, other people have been doing this for a long time, and people will do this after you, and you just want to make that road a little bit easier for the people behind you.
Oh yeah, no, and again, that's the whole point behind this series is to basically let people know, hey, just if you think you're gonna get made fun of or something or whatever because you're too tall, fat, short, different skin color, whatever, just know that cosplay is for everyone, no matter what those gatekeepers say.
Yeah, I mean that's precisely the point. Um, see, and another thing is I know a lot of uh, cosplayers that like to say, "Oh, it's so bad now, and it's so it's not fair," and blah blah blah, and all this. Or like they want cosplay to go back to the way it used to be, or something like that. And I'm like, no, you guys don't,
You're just
because
upset because everyone's wanting to do it now.
you know, 20 years ago, having an online resource like YouTube telling you how to make your props, being able to find the materials or your props, being able to find you know EVA foam and thermoplastics, and being able to purchase a relatively inexpensive 3D printer so you can
You
have
would have
hard
to
plastic.
you would have to
Yeah,
have a lot of money. Like you said, people saying that. Oh, I wish it's like so. You basically, you have to. Let me reiterate that. When people when you said like some cosplayers who say that, oh, I wish that that was like how things were back then. It's like so spend over $1,000 on something that you can easily pay $20 for or $30 for now.
like, again, like, you can go online, and if you just want to not spend a lot of money, and you want to buy a Batman costume, you can go to Party City and spend $40 and maybe another $50 on the accessories. You can go to any number of online sites and buy a better quality one. You can hire somebody to make you a Batman costume.
I was just about to say that like Etsy is a good example. Um,
Is at, yeah,
these there's cosplay Facebook groups where there's commissioners that you basically set a reasonable price and a reasonable time you want the cosplay and everything and see if they can't do payment plans so you can get that one cosplay you want to like show to a con your first time and everything.
yeah. I mean, you didn't have that.
No, you didn't.
You didn't have that. Like,
You would have to
you
like
didn't have that 5 years ago, instead of, like, not to mention 15 or 20.
you would
You
have
know,
to know someone and have the money just to get like an accurate looking cosplay.
you needed, you needed like a friend who knew how to sew.
No, that too. No.
Uh, you know, like, nowadays you can buy a, a sewing machine that'll get the job done for
Oh
60
yeah.
bucks.
Oh yeah.
You can,
I've seen those self. Yeah. I can't remember what they're called, but I've seen them once. You can just basically connect it to your computer and it'll just do it itself for you.
yeah, self running.
Sewing machine or
You know,
something.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you wanted something embroidered, you had to do that by hand.
And some cosplayers still do that because they like that feel of making their cosplay by hand if they can get away with it. Because not every even to this day, not a whole lot of people can afford a decent sewing machine that will get that job done. So they're not spending hours and hours and
You
then
know,
basically getting done like literally 2 hours before con.
yeah, I mean, you're that like I said, we're living in a golden age of cosplay now. Why do you want it to go regress back? I mean,
I think
Like,
personally,
like, like, like 10 years ago, you couldn't even think about having a career in cosplay because Patreon didn't exist and OnlyFans didn't exist.
and you got
Social media wasn't, yes.
and
Social
TikTok.
Facebook wasn't as big as it is now. YouTube definitely wasn't as big as it is
Same
now.
with Instagram.
There was no Instagram.
Oh yeah,
The
no.
all you had was MySpace, and that was, that
No.
ran itself into the ground.
Oh yeah, no. But yeah,
Um,
nowadays you got Instagram, Patreon, only
Twitter,
Twitter,
all
Reddit. Um,
Snapchat. You got all these options to build your fan base, and then
and also you also got Vistaprint too to give people your cards to say, hey, here's my Instagram or whatever, so you can see my cosplays.
yeah, and you have Twitch where you know you can make your cosplays.
Oh
You
yeah,
can
no,
play video games in your cosplays. You have all these options available to you to build your social media so you can
that that
try and earn a living.
that people like you didn't have back in the day. Like
Like no one had it back in the day. I mean,
cosplay. I mean, I guarantee cosplay later down the road is going to be a lot more technologically advanced, where you can literally buy like a big machine that you can put in your basement or something, and you just type in the word of the character you want to cosplay as, and boom, like within like a couple hours, there's your cosplay that will fit you perfectly.
it sounds like you know, future tech from the 1930s.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not. I'm just saying that that could be a thing where you just buy a machine, you put in your height, your weight, all your measurements, and you like type in the character, or you put like a picture of what that character looks like, and there you go. Your instant cosplay. You have your cosplay ready to go.
Yeah.
Kind of like 3D printing in a sense, but it's making an entire cosplay for you within hours. I'm just saying, I doubt that's ever going to be a thing, but for some people, that probably would be a good thing for those who don't want to spend, the work and everything.
Well, I mean, but in theory, you're talking about spending $2,000 or $3,000 just on the machine itself, not to mention the materials. But that's we're getting off track.
Yeah, I mean, again, the point also for this series is also to have a little humor, have a little fun every now and again.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
I mean,
I agree with you.
it would be a that no, it would be nice for a plus size guy like me to be able to,
Oh
you know,
yeah, no, because there's like a lot of cosplay on that with cosplay advancing over the years. They have websites now where you can actually like Etsy, you can talk to say, hey, this is what my height and weight is, and can you build this to fit my measurements?
here are my measurements. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger than I really am. Can you work with me?
And sometimes they
Um,
may have to charge more because of how much material they're going to be using.
yeah, but that's just reality.
Oh yeah, no.
Uh,
I'm not trying to take a jab at anyone. I'm just saying the material like for commissioners, you know, they're not.
there's a reason. There's a reason why there's a $3 extra fee if you want to buy a 3X shirt and compared to a 2X shirt. We're all well aware of that.
Oh yeah, no.
Um,
But yeah,
but
back to your
like I
saying,
said,
cosplay has definitely
yeah,
gotten modern nowadays.
it's on modern. It's people. Like I have friends who are now, because of the lockdowns being finished for the most part, they're going outside and doing photo shoots.
And meetups and
And
everything.
people are just like walking by, going, "Hey, I know that costume. Hey, good job." Uh, and that wasn't a thing. 15 years ago, if you were outside
You would
in
get people
costume,
would point and laugh at you, basically.
people would point and laugh at you, or they were like, "There's some person over there dressed as Superman trying to take photos.
I better
I'm
do
gonna call the
something.
police.
Yeah,
I'm gonna call
no,
the
no, exactly. Like you nowadays, people just say, "Oh, that person's cosplaying as Superman. Can I get your picture?" Now, like that person's cosplaying as Superman. I better, like you said, call the police or something. Like,
or point and laugh, or like,
unless it was Halloween, because Halloween, that was
yeah,
yeah.
but uh, it's like if it's like Easter and someone's cosplaying as Superman outside because, oh, I got this costume that I just made and I want to show it off. again, people would laugh, or they just walk up to them in the middle of a pose and just going, "What the hell are you doing?"
Pretty much.
I've seen it and I've experienced that. It's
I,
not fun.
I can't imagine, back then when people were trying to cosplay and show it and bring it out to public. Again, I didn't know about any of this stuff until high school.
Hmm.
So to me, I thought stuff like that was a little weird when it wasn't Halloween. I'll admit that.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have been alone back in the day. It was uh, even walking from your hotel to the convention center. If you were in costume, uh, uh, you got funny looks until people realized, oh, the convention's happening. Uh,
Yeah, that's how I felt my first time too when I first cosplayed. It's like I feel weird.
yeah, uh, so like again, people can have their nostalgia and feel like you know they might not like the drama or the cattiness that some inexperienced cosplayers or young cosplayers might want to bring to the hobby, but you don't want to go back to what it was 20 years ago when it was just a struggle to find things to make your costume out of. uh, let's see. I'm not sure what else we can talk about right now.
Um, I guess usually since it seems like we're getting close to the end of this, what I usually do when I do these podcasts for either get to know that cosplayer or the panels,
Hmm.
because technically this would be considered a panel in a way.
Okay.
Um, any advice you like to give out there for since the pandemic is finally, cons are coming back and everything. Any advice you like to give to first time cosplayer and con goers?
Okay. This will take about 10 minutes.
Go ahead. Go ahead. It's okay.
Okay. Number one is if it's your first time cosplaying, enjoy it, learn from it. Um, Realize that no one is perfect their first time. Uh, no one can't learn from the experience of being a cosplayer. You are going to experience things at a con that you have never experienced before. Things are going to hurt, things that don't normally hurt, especially if you're carrying a prop or you're wearing shoes that you're not comfortable with, or your suit is binding in places uh, that you don't normally feel pressure, or any makeup that you're wearing is going to run because you know you don't know how to properly set it. Uh, your wig's going to be uncomfortable because you're not used to wearing it. Uh, those sorts of things. Just keep in mind that you are going to experience things, and it's better to learn from them so you can improve for the next time. Your cosplay is going to fall apart. That
Oh
is just,
no, I've seen it happen to people.
it's happened to me. It's going to fall apart because what you thought was a secure stitch unravels as soon as you walk.
And you hear
Maybe you
you
didn't,
hear that rip or that crunch.
the little detail that you hot glued onto your armor is going to peel off, especially if it's a little warm. Um, these things happen. It's okay for them to happen. Uh, don't let it deter you from trying to cosplay in the future. Um, Again, learn from these incidents. Listen to other cosplayers when they give you advice. Because I've seen so many people, so many young starting cosplayers, just come out and just act like they know everything because they're, you know, uh,
Just because you've done it once doesn't mean you're experienced, in
you,
a
you know,
sense.
I mean, the most experienced cosplayers now, the ones that are over 30 and have been doing this for
Who actually
over a
who
decade,
make a career out of it, basically.
who've made a career out of it, are still learning new things
Oh yeah, no, because there's
every
always
day.
something new brought to the
Mhm.
cosplay convention community.
Yeah. Um, Always make sure that you have a, you know, So have a healthy attitude about these are my mistakes. These are the things that these are my I'm gonna make you're gonna make mistakes. You're not
Everyone.
gonna know how to pose properly. You know.
Again, I've seen a lot of people from previous podcasts tell me that posing is not easy.
And I can, if you want it, here's a piece of advice you can practice right now. No matter what you're doing, first off, learn what your character's main poses are,
Do your
and to
research,
be able
basically.
to do your research. Always do your research, but make sure that you can get into that pose within 5 seconds. So if you're like walking down, if you're taking a walk for some exercise, and no one's around, or maybe someone's around, you know, get into a pose within 5 seconds. Just stop, pose, stay in that pose for like 5 seconds, and then just keep walking.
I feel guilty of doing that while at work.
It is practice because
Oh.
you're going to be walking through a convention. You're going to be looking at you're in the artist alley and you're uh, looking at other people's artwork, or you're in the dealer hall and you're looking for stuff to buy, and you're in costume, and someone's going to say, "Hey, can I get a picture?" Spin around, get into the pose. 5 seconds after the photo's taken, you're on your way. It's literally that quick.
Oh yeah, no. Like
Yeah.
it's like you said. Do your if like I mean not like when you're if you want to cosplay a character, you don't have to do your research because you may like the character for how they look. But
Yeah.
also, it wouldn't hurt if you don't know anything about the character or like how they pose. I mean, it wouldn't hurt to like go on Google and type in their poses. You may see things that characters doing that's not actual pose. But if you watch like a short clip of them posing, then yeah, then you can be ready to pose as however that character is.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, okay, let's take a character like Tifa from Final Fantasy VII. She has a couple of victory poses.
Oh yeah,
Learn them.
oh yeah. Like, and she also
Uh,
has her basic her fists are up
Basic fighting,
or
you know,
her
or
hands up in the air and her leg and one of her legs are up.
well, like she has a number of poses.
Oh yeah, no, she
Learn
doesn't.
them.
And they're
You know,
base and they're
Sailor
basic
Moon,
and they're basic and Tifa's are basic poses. Like anyone can learn them.
right? Sailor Moon has a very specific pose when she does her transformation.
Mm-hmm.
Learn it. You know, if not else, you put your fist on your hips and you hold your breath. You stick your chest out in your basic superhero pose.
Sometimes it doesn't hurt to improvise.
You know, but practice, 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 because even professional models who do this for a living will tell you practice, practice. They practice all the time. You know, it's you know to them it's second nature because they've been doing it since they were 10, 11, 12.
Whatever. Yeah, no.
You um, you know,
Yeah,
it's okay to say there are times when it's okay to say no if someone wants to like take a pose like while you're wearing a skirt or shorts and they want to pose from you at the bottom of the stairs.
mm-mm,
Uh,
mm-mm. No, I
yeah, like it's okay to say no. I don't want to do that.
and that's
And
totally and that's totally understandable. If the cosplayer is uncomfortable and they say no, like, don't like pester them because as everyone will say, cosplay does not equal consent.
yeah, but like I'm trying to say is, um, it's okay as a cosplayer to say no. I don't want that picture. Please don't take that picture. Um, uh, what else? It's okay to say no if you're like pressured into doing things that you don't want to do. Yes, Oregon weed is legal. You know, if you're not into that, if there's an after party, it's like, nah, I don't want to go where there's weed or alcohol. Perfectly fine, and most people will understand. Because here's a secret about cons that a lot of people don't know: a lot of alcohol being drunk at them.
I mean, Yeah, I heard of cons where they have like their after parties at like at a local bar or a club or something.
Not even the after party. It's just Thursday night in a hotel room.
Open bar. Uh,
Uh, well, I mean, especially in California, where like I was at one con where there was like two liquor stores within walking distance of the hotel,
of course.
and you go in on a Thursday when it's day zero and everybody's setting up, and you go to the bars and there, or you go to the you know you go there to get your soda and it's full of alcohol, and then you go in like Friday afternoon when you've got a break to go get your soda and you know they're half empty.
Uh,
I'm exaggerating, but
oh no,
not
I
really.
mean I get it. Day zero of conventions are days where, like you said, you get prepared, you go out with your friends, have dinner,
Mhm.
go out for a couple drinks, you know,
Yeah.
to calm the nerves because when you go to con your first day, everything's just gonna be like bam in your face.
Well,
So well,
not only that, but a lot of cosplayers have just stressed themselves out so much
and
making their costume,
and then also there's those
and
cosplayers that literally have their cosplay finished on the day of the con.
Mhm.
Con
and
crunch.
they've been stressing and they've been crunching and they've been doing all that, and
So if they
they get through
see
one day. They
if they
get through one
s-
day of it, and they're like, "Oh, you know." It's like that meme of the girl in the Reptar with the bottle of Jack Daniels in her hand. I mean, it's just
Sailor Moon, not Sailor Moon. Yeah, the Sailor Moon cosplay. I've seen the photo I've seen the meme you're talking
Mhm.
about.
Yeah. So
Like, so if the cosplayer's grumpy and doesn't want pictures, it's probably because they just got done with their cosplay and they just want to walk around and buy merch and not be bothered.
well, it's either that or like they've been posing for 10 minutes. I've seen that where like they're like, I don't want any more photos. I just need to sit down.
Please
Um,
leave me alone. Go book someone else.
uh, you know, and then just the basic rules: the 6 hours of sleep, two meals, one shower, um, get some sleep during the con.
Just
Uh,
take care of yourself because after your first day, your body is just gonna
yeah,
feel like crap.
because because
Especially
you're
after the last day too, your body is just like you're on your way home, you're tired, you just don't want to deal with anything.
you know again
You
like
spent over $1,000 on merch.
get your first or what I'm trying to say, schedule a day that you're just not cosplaying at a con and just enjoy it. Um, and again, just realize accuracy is nice, but you're trying to create an illusion.
Oh no, I mean, and I have to.
90,
Sorry, go ahead again. Sorry.
90% of the way there is perfectly fine for cosplay. When you get to that 10% of perfection, you know, you're basically trying to compare yourself to like the masqueraders. So if you're trying to go for the masquerade contest, you know, work on that extra 10%. But you don't need to play Lady Dimitrescu
Oh yeah, no.
and be 9 foot
Oh
6.
yeah, no. Like
Yeah.
I've seen my fair share of Lady Dimitrescu cosplayers where they will fully commit to like wearing like the stilts to be that accurate.
And that's fine if you're like just posing in one place. At a con, actually, construction stilts are usually illegal or not
Really?
allowed. Yeah, because they destroy carpeting and
Oh,
they destroy flooring.
well, that's good to know. And again, I have to
Like
appreciate what you.
like like, like a side story, there was a guy cosplaying as Chewbacca one day and Groot the next day, and he was wearing the same construction stilts at San Diego Comic Con. And by the time they caught up with him, he probably destroyed about 100 feet of carpeting just because of him walking through the through the halls in it.
Oh boy,
I mean,
that's.
he was licensed to wear them,
But
but he shouldn't have had them on.
you're putting a lot of
You're
wear and
putting them,
a lot of
yeah,
wear and
you're
tear
putting a
on.
lot of on the convention center floors.
Not
That's
not
the
just the
point.
floors, but also you're putting a lot of wear and tear on those stilts that cause the wear and tear.
Hmm.
And I have to go back to what you said earlier. I think you don't have to go to you don't have to cosplay to go to a convention. You could just wear your normal clothes,
Yeah.
like or if you like want to wear a wig or something. You don't have to fully go into a convention like a cosplay convention. Doesn't mean you have to cosplay necessarily. You can just go in your regular clothes and you're fine.
Yeah. I mean, but we are talking about cosplayers,
Oh yeah,
so
no,
that
yeah.
that was
Well, oh yeah,
look,
no.
if
Like yeah.
if you're there to cosplay, schedule a day for yourself where you're just not in costume. No one knows who you are. You're not trying to go for anything and just go there, have some fun, buy some merchandise on Sunday or whatever day you decide, and enjoy the con for the con.
It's so crazy seeing cosplayers outside of cosplay because you don't recognize them.
Oh, I can share this one fact. About 90% of the cosplayers that you see in the photos do not look like that when they're in normal clothes.
Oh no, I'm fully aware of from from what I've seen, what they've made now for cosplayers. They make those fake chests for female cosplayers who want to cosplay as guys, or the big boob chest
Hmm.
pro, latex things to make your boobs bigger, or for guys to.
So, the silicone breastplates. Yeah.
Thank you. That's what it is. Like that I've seen. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like I have a friend who cosplays as Mai Shiranui from King of Fighters, and uh, he's the one that made this famous video of he's walking into the hotel room and he just peels off uh, all this upholstery foam out of his bodysuit and
Wait,
his
I've
costume.
seen that video where he just like basically after the at the end of the video he's like in his normal clothes and
He's
just plops right on the
yeah,
bed.
going freedom, freedom,
I've,
yeah,
s-
ah.
I've seen that video. Oh my god! I every time I see that video, I just like first I'm shocked because I didn't realize that was a dude. Second, I
Yeah.
laugh, and then third is like, oh my god, that is impressive.
Oh yeah, yeah, and he's just doing the same thing that a lot of drag queens were doing. You know, and that's the last thing I just want to say. Don't be afraid to learn from, like, I would quote unquote weird sources. Drag queen's been doing a lot of these gender bends for
A
you know
long time.
dozens of years, a long time. Learn from them if that's where you want to go with it. Uh,
That's actually really
don't
good
be
advice.
afraid. Don't
That's really good advice.
don't be afraid to try new things, even if someone else would say like, "Oh, why are you doing that?" Because you want to learn. Like Kamui cosplay. She does a lot of
Oh,
LED things.
oh yeah, no,
You know,
I've seen her work. She does a lot of big pieces.
there's lot of big props. She had to learn. She learned from trial and error. I mean, she was one of the few people back in the day making YouTube videos teaching people how to make those big World of Warcraft swords. Um, you know, learn from her. Learn from you know, just, you'll be surprised what sort of things you can apply to cosplay.
And if you
Uh,
can't get a hold of those big name cosplayers, find a friend who's done it before and get advice from them.
yeah, I mean, that's the thing is never stop learning, never stop experimenting, never stop practicing, uh, and just realize it takes time, it takes effort. Kamui cosplay is not some sort of cosplay genius. She learned from practicing. She learned from some
Trial and error.
experience. She learned from trial and error. She learned from other people doing this and asking for help.
That's what all I think even some big cosplayers if they don't know what they're doing, they'll ask someone, they'll do the research because that's that's what the internet's for. That's what friends are for. If they've done it and you've never, ask them. If they can't help you, go on the internet because I guarantee
And
someone on the internet has probably done it.
yeah, um, And if you have to be the first one, teach others. Expand the hobby, make it easier for everybody. Because you know
To
we're
quote
not going to be. We're
to quote
you know
this
you,
old
you,
saying,
you
Rome wasn't built in a day.
yeah. Well,
Uh,
so anyway, just my Instagram should be in the doobly doo.
oh yeah,
Uh,
it'll be in the description below. And if you have any questions for Chris, feel free to ask him if that's okay.
and if you know, I can always talk about other things in future podcasts.
Oh yeah, I'm
I,
looking.
I love to talk about cosplay, and I love to talk about cons.
Oh yeah, no, I'm glad that you got a hold of me on that cosplayer of Oregon. As like that and the Con group is where I probably and Instagram is where I mainly post everything about coming up with future podcasts, not just for cosplay con talk, but for my regular geeking out podcast series as well.
and and I plan on attending WasabiCon. I don't know when this podcast comes out.
This
Uh,
podcast will probably come out in October or November. The first
okay.
Saturday, because the first Saturday before we end this, for those who are listening, first Saturdays of every month, I will post my regular geeking out videos and podcast panel videos for Cosplay Con Talk, and then the rest of the month, I will be posting cosplay. Get to know that cosplayer interviews, and the last Saturday of every month is when I post a special guest cosplayer interview.
Okay.
Every night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Okay. Um, so whenever this comes out, yeah, I'm not sure what my plans for the rest of the year are, but I know that I'm attending a couple. Um, I know I'm attending WasabiCon, and I'm gonna try and make it to Rose City.
Nice.
Uh,
Very nice. Um, I think that should about wrap it up. We spent a good hour on this one. I guess again, Chris, thank you for coming on to Cosplay Con Talk and talking about cosplay over the year, along with your experiences as well.
and anytime you need a guest, let me know. I appreciate the conversation, and I hope everyone has a great time at a future convention.
Yeah. Again, I'm Wayne the Unknown. Until next time, thank you for listening and thank you for watching.